This podcast is brought to you by Besta Sea Tours, your home for hosted luxury cruises, and by Sheets.com, who remind you that a great night's sleep begins with a great set of sheets. Here now with his very special guest is the Guru of the Seas with Hall of Fame sports broadcaster Verne Lundquist.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Guru Learns with an ambient sound. We are in Seguin, Texas today, and I have a very, very special guest. And I'm trying a new Sennheiser piece of equipment. That's all you need to know about that. Today, I have a very, very special guest, and he is a Hall of Fame broadcaster, and I've known him for a long time, and he's generous enough to do this. We're in Seguin for the weekend for the opening of the Verne Lundquist Athletic Center at Texas Lutheran University. So you know my guest is Verne Lundquist, and thank you, sir, for doing this and putting up with this equipment. You're a Hall of Fame broadcaster for CBS where you walk in and it just works.
Not quite, Tom.
Not all the time?
No. There's a lot of failure involved.
Well,
but I enjoyed watching you try to make this work.
Here's the thing. I know you're all into AI. You're into Chat GPT. And Grok.
And
you know what Grok?
And hip hop music too.
No. So what I've done, I like curveballs. Although I didn't make freshman year as a pitcher. I pulled up your life from artificial intelligence, from AI. It's amazing. It goes to all these websites and puts it all together. And I'm just curious. We can do two things at once. We can tell everybody, if you live under a rock, who Verne Lundquist is, and we can verify that AI is correct, because there's a lot of misinformation. And according to this, early life and origins, you were born July 17th, no year, I'm not doing the year. And the year is there, but in Duluth, Minnesota.
That's true.
Absolutely true.
Yeah.
And you didn't spend your whole life in Duluth.
I was there for 2 months. I've been back once in 85 years. I see no reason to go back. None.
Okay. It says here you grew up partly in Texas. Which part?
Austin.
All of you, though, right?
Oh, yeah. Knees below.
And you graduated from Austin High School, correct?
Right. Yep.
And you went to attend Texas Lutheran University, where we were last night for an amazing dinner where I was treated like somebody special, and then it was fabulous, what they call Christmas Vespers. I thought it was something where I was going to have to pray and kneel and chant, because I'm not Lutheran, I'm Catholic. But it was fabulous, and there was liquor involved, but only a little bit. You graduated in no years. Before fully committing to sports broadcasting, he briefly attended the seminary. Correct.
Correct.
Your father was a Lutheran minister.
Correct, yes.
And you wanted to follow in the...
Well, Tom, I graduated with a degree in sociology and a double minor in history and speech. And what that does is qualify you to fill out a blue book. And that's about it. But I grew up in a minister's home, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I had some far-fetched idea of combining my interest in religion and radio television. And so I decided, and I was in correspondence with a fellow at Union Theological Seminary, and we have a visitor who's knocking at the door.
Let me just jump in here. I do too much anyway. I know people are going to listen to this podcast because the name Verne Lundquist is attached to it. You don't know who I am. I can be a train wreck sometimes. So I thought it was important to block out the meeting room here at the wonderful. It's not the Peninsula Hotel. It's not the Peninsula. It's not even near an island. Anyway, but next to us, as we have the whole meeting room to ourselves, somebody is in there. I don't know, beating a cow. I don't know what's going on. Just like, there's a lot of noise in there. All of if people that know you for years are going to find you in this podcast and go, how did you hook up with this? So I interrupted you, so you chose not the seminary.
Well, I did go for 1 year. And somewhere in microfilm, there's a record of me having accumulated 18 hours, including 6 hours of Greek, which has been not particularly helpful in the career I've had. But I realized, Tom, 6 weeks in, it was not for me.
Now, here's a question that I doubt anybody's ever asked you, because, I'm a Catholic and I go to church and I'm frustrated because of the lack of public speaking skills by the priest. That one year, was there any talk at all about how you would give your homily? Or
Yes.
You did do? Okay,
Yeah, we did.
All right.
There was I can't even remember the term for it now, but it's called the art of preaching.
Okay.
And I had 3 hours of that, I guess. But my dad was dedicated. I didn't have that commitment at all. And I realized that 6 weeks in. And so I did vow to complete one full year, which I did. But I got a full-time radio job. The seminary was the Lutheran School of Theology in Rock Island, Illinois. And I got a summer job in Clinton, Iowa. And then right in September, as school started, I landed a job across the Mississippi River in Davenport, Iowa, WOC, which stands for World of Chiropractic. Thank you very much.
You would think by now with the knees and stuff, it would have came in handy.
Yeah. But I, knowing that I was not going to return, I called my hometown of Austin. We moved to Austin when I was 12, and my dad took over a church there, and I called the local radio station and asked for a summer job, and I was hired by a legendary comedian named Cactus Pryor, Richard Cactus Pryor.
Wow.
And he started me out the summer of '63 as an FM disc jockey, summer replacement disc jockey. And FM didn't mean anything then. And anyway, knowing I was not going back to seminary, the sports job opened up and I auditioned for it. Cactus said, not bad. So I started in September of '63.
I'm going to check, see if they're correct here. The other thing that came to mind when you talked about the art of preaching, Fordham and Syracuse, where they have journalism schools and sports broadcasting, and today's announcer, they must also take that course of the art of preaching, because could you call the game and leave the rest of it out there so we can move it along?
Fordham has, Vin Scully graduated from Fordham.
Yeah.
And a few others.
Mike,
some great, some not so great.
The ABC, Mike,
Breen.
Yeah, Mike Breen.
Mike Breen, yep.
Michael Kay.
Yeah.
He's a Fordham boy. But no, it has changed. That was going to be later in the conversation. It has changed from, there's an advantage. It's funny about this. It's called The Guru Learns. I'm an advantage. I've heard many of these stories. And one of my favorites and let's just double check here. You grew up in Texas and you decide, but here, it says here, he attended seminary because his father was a Lutheran pastor, but his golden voice for radio.
I hate that.
Led him to a career in broadcasting.
I hate that.
So somebody somewhere gave you that.
Yeah, I know. And it's unfortunately part of my Wikipedia page.
Well, let's see where they pulled it from. This is unbelievable now. You want to know anything about anybody. In fact, I would imagine if you went on and you put in the chat GTP, please give me all information on Jim Nance, it would start with, hello, friends. That would be right at the top. And then we go from there.
And list his hometowns, which would be in double figures.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You can talk about his friends.
This is my hometown of Charlotte.
My friend.
This is my hometown of Houston.
My friend Arnold Palmer. So we'll stop right there, because the broadcasting, especially golf announcing is so different than it was.
Yeah.
And you'll tell the story about Frank Cerkinian and how your entry into golf is the complete opposite of how they cover golf today.
Well, Frank, I got a phone call. I was at ABC for 8 years, and then I got one of those conversational tidbits. We're moving in a different direction.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I landed a part-time gig at CBS Sports, and it worked out pretty well.
I guess so. For them.
Yeah, well, and for me.
Yeah, but for them.
But on December 1st of 1982, I got a call, and the lady who called from New York asked if I'd ever done golf, and I said, yeah, probably 10 events. And she said, well, Frank Kerrigan, our legendary executive producer, is interested, and he would like to try you in golf. So this was 82, and Frank called me, Armenian American, the most profane human being I have ever met in my life.
Because you couldn't do it today.
Oh, no.
You could never do it today.
No. And so he said, Lundquist, we're going to put you on golf, and here's your schedule. You're going to do Pebble Beach. You're going to do Jack's Tournament in Ohio, Colonial, Byron Nelson, and yes, Augusta. But I don't want you to break in with a high-profile event like Pebble Beach. So I want you to come out to Phoenix, and we're on opposite the Super Bowl, and nobody's going to be watching.
Nobody's watching.
So sure enough, Nancy and I flew to Phoenix on a Wednesday. We did not do cable in those days, and I walked into the temporary office space. We had a trailer, and I knocked. The secretary said, "I'm Verne Lundquist. I'm here to see Mr. Kerrigan," and I knocked on the door and. He opened it, and I said, Frank, I'm Verne Lundquist. He said, I know who the hell you are. Who the hell do you think hired you? Now sit down.
Can't imagine.
And he said, we got 3 rules. Number 1, don't give your name on television. Nobody cares who you are. When it's proper, Pat Summerall will introduce you. That's it. No name. Okay, got it. Number 2, don't you ever talk over a shot. Whatever brilliant contribution you have to make to the editorial content of this production, you shut up before the golfer brings the club back, okay? Don't talk over the shot, I got that. Number 3, don't state the obvious. If a guy makes a 3-foot putt, don't you ever tell me he made it. We can see that, so I've got it now, right? So I'm working the 16th hole, and the golfer in question was a guy named Rex Caldwell. He was 2 back. So, and we have communication people that feed this information to the truck, and so Caldwell, he's 2 shots back on Saturday with 3 to play. He's got a 7-iron. Hole location is front right. So he hits the shot. I shut up, and it lands 20 feet up. We jump around, we go away, and we come back. And I said, "Here's Caldwell, 2 back. If you can make this birdie putt, he'll be only 1 back with 2 to play here on Saturday." He sends the putt down, and he leaves it about 2 feet short. We go around, we come back. Here's Caldwell for his par. He never touched the hole, to which I said, he missed it. And Kerrigan put the all key down, which means everybody can hear this. And he said, you stupid Scandinavian SOB. If I tell you, don't tell me he made it, can you not deduce on your own never to tell me he missed it? Well, I learned a lesson.
Yep.
I never did it again.
And it's, I love that story, and because I watched a lot of golf, and it's different now. It's just different now, but that seems to be what they expect. 1996, you get a call from your agent who said, I've got a role for you in a movie.
Yeah.
Do you want to do this role in a movie? And it's with this comedian guy from Saturday Night Live. He's doing a movie called Happy Gilmore. And I never asked you, how did it that Adam Sandler or one of his people said, get Verne?
Well, Bob Rosen, my agent, who passed away about a year ago, Bob also represented Pat Summerall. Okay. And I went to Bob in '82 when I went to CBS because I had IMG. Yeah. And I was a very tiny minnow in a huge ocean. And Bob Rosen said, Kerrigan wants you to come with me because I've got all the CBS guys. So Bob Rosen's suggestion, I went. So Rosen called me and he said, they're making this movie called Happy Gilmore. They're shooting in Vancouver, and they want you up there. So I flew to Vancouver.
But he never told you. Did Adam?
No.
Did Adam ever say that he?
Not then.
No. Okay.
No, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And so I go up, and we stayed at the Pan Pacific Hotel in Vancouver in '96, And I was delivered a script that night so I could study for the next morning, and I see barely scratched up in the upper right-hand corner, Summerall. So they had asked Pat, and Pat said, "Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so."
Mistake.
Yeah, so that's how I got the role. And then the next morning, we're gathered at 7 o'clock, and Dennis Dugan, who in Happy Gilmore 2 was the commissioner of the regular golfers, but he was the director of this movie. And he said, "Let's do a sight gag just for us." And Jack Jaraputo was Adam Sandler's suite mate at New York University Film School, and he was there. And Jack's a really good-looking guy, very nice man. He said, "Jack, go over to wardrobe, get a coat and tie, and I want you to sit next to Verne, but you cannot say a word because you're not a member of the Screen Actors Guild."
Yeah.
So Jack is the one to whom I cupped my hand and said, "Who the hell is Happy Gilmore?" And I still get photographs. "Please sign this," to this day. And Jack now is executive producer of all of Adam Sandler's movies.
And now, well, let's see. It's that was 1996.
Yeah.
It is 39. No.
Yeah.
No. 29.
29 years.
29 years later.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler has a Netflix deal, and they have to do something, so they decide to do Happy Gilmore 2, and you get a call, this time not from Bob Rosen. That would have been unusual. And sure, why not? But this time you didn't go to Vancouver. I'm sorry, I know I'm terrible. People are going, "Why do you tell the story?" Well, I'm moving along. You didn't go to Vancouver. You went to Jersey.
Yeah. Belleville, New Jersey. Yeah.
To an insane asylum, wasn't it? Or,
yes, it was.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, Tommy, yes. And we stayed at Jersey City at the Jersey City Westin, I think it was. And they called me. Adam Sandler himself called in early October of last year. And he said, "We're doing Happy Gilmore 2. I'd like you to be a part of it." So that was a thrill.
Yeah.
Because he's really a good guy.
Yeah.
He's everything you hope
Yeah.
a superstar would be. He's humble and very pleasant to be
Actually shy.
Yeah, he is. He sure is.
He pretty-
Opera man.
Yeah.
But he's a wonderful guy.
Yeah.
And so when he called, I'm all in, right? And we shot about an hour south of Jersey City, and they picked me up at 7 in the morning. And I told Nance, "You want to come with me?" She said, "Not in your life."
But you would have missed out meeting. Oh gosh, wasn't Bad Bunny? Who was the other one? It was it was Post Malone.
Yeah. And I'm so up to date on current musical trends.
Yeah.
I had no idea who he was. I had no earthly idea. And it turns out he was once a hip hop star, now country western, and he's 29. And in the movie, there's a scene where I asked my brother, who the heck is Post Malone? Well, they're CNW fans. So they knew. And there's a scene where he stands up and puts a cowboy hat on my head, and for some reason he gets a lot of laughs. But he's really a nice guy.
Yeah.
And I've got a photograph, 8 by 10, of Adam Sandler, Post Malone, and Jack Jaraputo. And I treasured that.
Well, I'll tell you, I watched it. It's a lot of sight gags.
Yep.
You're the best part of that whole movie. You and John Daly. John Daly.
John Daly was outstanding.
Is the word dichotomy? I don't know words, but the contrast
Yeah.
of having you and John Daly.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and who Chris McDonald, is that who came back? And,
Christopher McDonald.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was good. It was good.
It was really funny.
And it's on Netflix. Anybody can watch it and watch it again and again. But it is quite nice that he said, "We got to get Verne."
Very nice.
We got to get Verne.
And the number of cameos, the number of
Everybody
golfers,
was in that
it
thing.
was amazing.
Yeah.
I was astounded
everybody.
that Jack Nicklaus was in.
Yeah.
And I thought he did Freddie Couples did a great job.
Yeah.
And then the current golfers, I mean.
It's amazing too because they have plenty of spotlight.
Oh.
They're on TV all
yeah,
the time, so it's not like, wow, I'm going to be in. Well, maybe they're not in a movie, so they're going to be in a silent. And here's the other part of it: for their grandchildren, that's the cool thing. There's Grandpa.
Yeah.
Grandpa's in the Adam
That's
Sandler
right.
movie, or
That's
the
right.
teenagers.
Yeah.
They're in an Adam Sandler movie. We should also mention you have a book out. It's still available.
Yeah.
It's called Play by Play.
Imaginative title, isn't it?
And you didn't choose it.
No, I did not.
Well-
HarperCollins was the publisher, and ironically, the editor was a guy named Mac Harper, I think it was his name, and he told me this is the title of the book. I said, couldn't you use something with a little imagination? He
Hard to
said,
believe.
nope, play by play. I said, oh my God.
It doesn't.
You know, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, was it talked about? I mean, in your life?
Yeah.
Yes. Any of the calls?
Yeah, exactly.
Any of the look. Anybody listening to this podcast has to understand. I was a fan first, and you know, Sports Illustrated had a story about the top 25 greatest calls in sports history. You have 3 of those.
Yeah.
3 of those, and Enberg has 2, and Michaels has 1. I mean, your career is, well, you know, Joe Rogan, whether you like him or don't like him, he can talk to somebody for 3 hours. We can certainly do. We don't have time. We're going to a ribbon cutting, but well, we're going to a ribbon cutting just in case people from TLU listen to this podcast, because we're going to talk about that shortly. The gentleman in charge of the scissors is quite nervous right now. His name is Chris, and he's been through 6 pairs of scissors and 12 types of ribbon, and he's had dry runs. He's had students out there holding up the ribbon while they try out the scissors.
Well, Tommy, he sat with us at dinner last night. He was nervous about it.
I know he was.
It was unbelievable.
It's just scissors, and I was gonna. No, I behave myself when I'm among the exalted. That is for sure. We are here because every year Mr. Lundquist would have a fundraiser for the college he graduated to help raise money for sports, because it's a D3, right? It's a Division III school.
Yeah.
And after 21 years is now
Right.
of doing this, the college has built a new athletic center, which you haven't seen yet.
Nope.
Does it have some of your memorabilia in it?
Yes, 40 boxes full.
Well,
4-0.
that's one way to get it out of the house.
And more to come.
Yeah.
Because we took everything off the shelves in our home in Steamboat, but we left things on the walls. So there are a number of memorabilia, and all of it will ultimately come down here.
Now, interesting, that raises a question. It's the athletic center for Texas Lutheran University. It should only be for the students, but there isn't a way if someone happens to be in Seguin getting their tire changed. I shouldn't say that. All I know about Seguin is the Holiday Inn Suites. Very nice here.
That's all you need to know. It's not a garden spot.
But I will tell you, it's a very nice campus, and it was a very nice Christmas Vespers last night. The Jackson Hall they have is gorgeous.
really
But I
is.
wonder, people can't just pull up there and go, "Can we take a look and burn stuff?"
Yeah.
You can.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It's open to the public.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
Oh, fab.
as-
like the Bush and Reagan.
yeah, don't you think?
or-
That's comparable.
Yeah, or the Obama.
LBJ Library.
Yeah, very,
Yeah.
Well, it is. We could spend forever talking about, but let's pretend no one knows this. You're doing skating, and you live in Steamboat now. How many years?
41.
And you know everything you want to know about downhill skiing. You know downhill skiers. You
Yeah.
know, and so, in the infinite wisdom, you're assigned skating.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I had a hernia.
I'm not sure what.
Well, we were doing a football symposium at Pebble Beach in 1989, a symposium because John Madden had the clout to have all of us go out there and play golf and lie.
Okay.
And how do you spend your Mondays through Fridays? Well, I started memorizing on Monday afternoon, yada, yada, yada. And John had the clout to get us all. And so our executive producer at the time in '89 called me and he said, we've got the rights to 2 Winter Olympics at the time, Albertville, France in '92 and Lillehammer in '94. They were going to change the rotation. And I thought, well, this is great because we live in the ski resort. Billy Kidd was our expert analyst on downhill. they're going to tell me I'm doing alpine. No, you're doing figure skating. That's when the hernia came. And Nancy calmed me down. She said, shut up. You love athleticism, you love music, and figure skating will be perfect. And it turned out to be, Tom. I got to work with Scott Hamilton, 92, 94, and 98 as it turned out. And our first ever event with Scotty and me was in Leningrad before it reverted to St. Petersburg, the European Championships. And Scotty realized early, we had done one practice event at the Broadmoor World Arena in Colorado Springs. And he knew when we got to Leningrad, I didn't know squat about his sport.
But you have the golden voice.
Well, yeah.
You have the golden voice. That's important. He has a nice voice.
Yeah.
But it's not golden. It might be platinum or lead, but it's not golden. But
well,
anyway.
we sat there and we worked out a system, And David Michaels, who is Al Michaels' younger brother, David was our producer.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and so he said, Verne, here's what I want you to do. Give me a little introduction as the skater comes out, then shut up, and then at the slow part in the middle, give me a little biographical moment, shut up, and then wrap it up at the end, leave the rest to Scott. Because Scott was a gold medal winner in '84 and one of the nicest guys ever. And so Scott, knowing that I didn't know anything, we worked out a system. And every time something significant was going to occur, he'd reach over with his right hand and put it on my right forearm. And that means shut up. Yeah. I've got this. Yeah. And we got through 2 Olympics that way. And then by the time of the third in '98 in Japan, I was a smart aleck. I thought I knew something about his sport.
And the other thing about this is, I don't know if people realize it, there's a lot of egos in sports broadcasting.
I swallowed my coffee on that one.
And eyeballs are important. So, and there are some I read that said, Lundquist is always in the right place at the right time. You end up with the greatest calls because you were lucky. No, you have the greatest calls because you came up with it at the time. But this one, you didn't need to come up with the greatest call. It's Tonya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan and everybody in America who didn't even know what an ice skate looked like. They just knew what 2 women going at it looked like. How many, you told me once, how many viewers for that?
126 million.
Which is that Super Bowl numbers, right?
Yeah, and it's still, as far as I know, it's still the highest rated non-Super Bowl event ever. Yeah. That was the Wednesday night. The Tonya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan thing was, there were several books about it. Yeah. Tonya was accurately portrayed as the bad person in all this. But Nancy Kerrigan was no trip to Hollywood either. But it was beneficial to us to draw the contrast. But was CBS culpable in the hype? Oh my God. Connie Chung was then co-anchoring the evening news.
She came over, didn't she?
She went to Portland and they paid an upgrade for Tonya Harding to go first class, and they had a film crew. So Connie Chung filmed Tonya, Portland, Chicago, Amsterdam, Oslo, into the cars, all the way to Lillehammer, or Hamar is where we were. And the day that the 2 women appeared on the ice for the first time was a Tuesday afternoon. There were 400 print media in there, but we were the only North American broadcasters allowed, other than the CBC. So Canadian broadcast had a group, but it was Scott, myself, and Tracy Wilson. But down Tracy Wilson.
Oh, Wilson.
Wilson,
Okay.
not Wilson.
Not Wilson.
Yeah,
Okay.
she lives in Toronto,
Okay.
and she's a dynamite person.
Yeah.
And she was our 3rd member of our crew. Well, Connie Chung is down on the ice, and around the arena, Martha Teichner, Bill Geist, Mark Phillips, John Blackstone, Susan Spencer, each with a camera crew, each supposedly telling some part of the story, and down below is Connie Chung co-anchoring with Dan Rather. After they had paid, you think we weren't culpable. And Scotty said, somewhere somebody's lost sight of the purpose of this.
But now it is television and journalism as we know it.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it be sports or whether it be crime, it's just everybody knows if it bleeds, it leads. But in television now, it's just and they dog with a bone. But that's another story, another day. So people have put in writing and about how does it happen with Lundquist? How does it happen? And James Brown, JB, I can't say that he's a friend, but he said to me once in NFL Today, he said, we're convinced that Verne, the night before a game, he's in his room burning incense, burning incense and chanting some strange chant, because when the game comes on the next day, it's unbelievable. And of course, and I'm doing too much talking here, but I get excited. It was Auburn, Alabama, right? I still remember Gary Danielson saying, "Be careful, Verne, because all the fat guys are out there," which is one of the great lines ever. That kick, you can take it from there because you have the better voice of the golden voice.
Oh, yeah. No, it's still the greatest college football game I ever saw. And you just, it's instinct. You let instinct, and years of preparation, years of doing it. I mean,
I can still hear your voice going, he's got a block.
Yeah.
Chris Davis, right?
Chris Davis. Yeah.
And I didn't watch it recently.
He's got another block.
He's got another block.
Chris Davis, no flags, touchdown Auburn, and answered prayer, right? It came to me. I remember, Tom, I looked back and I thought, dear God, don't let there be any flags.
Yeah.
And because it would have wiped everything out.
Yeah. Christian Leitner, Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods. I mean, there are, the Tiger Woods chip. Again, if you've read the book, you know the story. If you watch the documentary that CBS did when you retired, you've heard the story. But other people might not. They listen to my direct every day on the regular podcast, and I'll tell them, you have to listen to this. And when they hear this story, I've talked too much. All the years we met, Verne and I, on Oceana when he was a speaker. And some people would say, well, it's sports. It was never sports, it was people.
Yeah,
it was people, and it was
that's right.
stories about sports. And this one is unbelievable. It's the chip on 16 for how it ended up being on in the air.
Well, I was at 16 in the tower. A camera guy was a guy named Bob Wishney. And in the front of the truck, and let me go back just a second. CBS first started televising the Masters in 1956. In that time until now, we've only had 3 executive producers: Frank Cherkinian, Lance Barrow, and the current fellow, Sellers Shy, who lives in Memphis. And in this case, in 2005, Lance Barrow was in the truck. Steve Milton is the director in the middle, and Norm Patterson is the technical director. So at 16, and this is absolutely true, we were designated camera. Steve is looking up at monitors, 54 monitors.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And he's got to make a choice. Yeah. And he picks ready 10, take 10. And Norm Patterson, the technical director, sits to his right. And when Steve said, take 10, Norm punches a button. You see 10 in your living rooms. So in this case, ready 10, take 10. And here comes the ball. And as a preamble to all this, Bob and I had been in the tower Wednesday, and he said, look, they've given us brand new ikamis in each of the main camera positions on the second 9. It's got a 100-to-1 zoom lens. He showed me, and we zoomed down, and we could see a nickel in God We Trust 2002. And it's got a stabilizer so that when you yell, Verne, and you stand up and the camera shakes, I won't get yelled at. So anyway,
Shaky Bob.
Oh boy! And so
did he retire?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bob's.
He's probably not going to listen.
He's back in Philly.
Yeah, not going to listen. Oh, he's from Philly.
Philly. Yeah. And so ready 10, take 10. So here it comes, and it breaks right. And Lanny Watkins was our analyst at 18 at the time, and Tiger was playing with Chris DeMarco, and Chris had hit the ball 20 feet below the hole. I said, Lanny, what do you think? He said, he's got no shot. Maybe he'll be lucky if he can keep it within inside DeMarco's ball. So now, ready 10, take 10, here comes the ball. Perfect focus. It breaks right, tumbles down. And then using all of my creative, imaginative, linguistic skills, I yelled, "Oh, wow." And then the ball sat there for 1.8 seconds. And I said, in your life, have you ever seen anything like that?
Before it dropped or after?
After it dropped.
Yeah, but it hung there.
Yeah, 1.8 seconds.
Yeah.
And advertising is 20 years ago now. Advertising Week Age magazine estimated the accrued value to Nike from that logo exposure was $19 million 20 years ago. But the backstory, the more important part of the story is when the ball lingered, it was about a foot from the cup. Steve Milton correctly said, "Ready 6, take 6." Well, 6 is a guy on a pedestal over here to my left, and his job was to take a tight reaction shot of the Tiger.
Disappointment.
Yeah, exactly.
Frustration, whatever.
When the ball doesn't go in.
Yeah.
But Norm Patterson put his career on the line and instinctively did not take 6. And it's a fireable offense. You're in the cruise industry. Right. It'd be like somebody on the bridge, rudder right, and he goes, takes it left. Yeah.
That happens usually. Verne's about to do a world cruise. It'll happen during your 6 months.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. Anyway, so it dropped.
Yeah, it goes in. And because Norm did not take 6, we saw what we saw. And had he taken 6, it would have changed everything. And the denouement is very, very sad. Norm was at our first event of the year in San Diego. He went jogging and he dropped dead of a heart attack. He was 41 years of age.
Yeah, that's just unheard.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But Norm was from Cincinnati. Steve went back to eulogize him and told the story of Norm Patterson's courage and instinct so that his family and friends would know that had it not been for Norm, everything about that shot, our perception would have been changed.
And those are I knew this ahead of time, but now you know. And this is the guru learns, but now you learn. Because the stories, we could go through all of the calls, but let's back up to Texas Lutheran.
Okay.
21 years ago, you decided to help raise money.
Yeah.
You didn't have a vision of the athletic center in mind back then, no?
No.
No, it was just.
Oh, no, no. I love this university. I graduated in 1962. And when it was announced at one of this front rows, Terry Bradshaw was my guest.
I was there.
Yeah. Oh, you were. Oh, yes, you were. You and Dottie were there.
And did he?
Yeah.
You get the check?
No.
No.
He paid half of it.
Did he?
He's on the hook for $25,000 more.
Okay.
And I'll get the rascal. I'll get the rascal.
I stepped on you again, but
no.
When they announced it was going to be named after you, he went, "Hey, Bubba, I'll put up 50,000." So,
yeah, and he did pay 25.
Yeah.
But Terry and I are still in touch.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to him? I guess he went to Fox, didn't he?
I think so. Well, you know what? I try to keep this. I was told in this business of podcasting, 30, 35 minutes attention spans disappear after that. And I've changed it to like, if I'm having fun, I don't care what the rest of the people think. So then one of the great sports stories of all time is Bradshaw is your analyst.
Yeah.
And he's a new kid on the block.
Yeah.
How many years ago?
1984.
Yeah, he's a new kid on the block. He knows nothing. And he admitted at your fundraiser, he didn't like to do preparation. He didn't like. I remember him saying, Dick Vermeil had charts and graphs, and he had easels. And what is all that for? We're just talking about football.
Well, Terry went into a flop sweat.
Yeah.
And he said, because Vermeil was one of the most over-prepared analysts ever. He'd go down to fuchsia, and I knew that was the guy's shoe size, And I worked with Dick for a year. He's a wonderful guy. Yeah. But Bradshaw and I were together for 84, 85. They split us up, God knows why. 86, 87. We were number 8 out of 8, right? And then they put us back together in 88, 89, and suddenly we've improved. We're number 2 behind John and Pat. But the Terry story that I love telling our first game ever was Detroit, New Orleans. And Mike Burks was our producer. And
he's a big fan of mine.
Yeah.
No, just so inside joke.
Oh, yeah. So we're having a production meeting on Friday night, and Terry said, and at the time, this was what they call a point-to-point game. It was going to be televised in New Orleans and Detroit. And Terry said, you know what, fellas, ain't nobody going to be watching this game except people in Detroit and New Orleans. Let's have us some fun. Let's invent us a football player. Thus began the one-year career of Willie Anderson, free agent defensive back from Colby College in Maine.
That's a great story.
Some of us were stunned that Terry Bradshaw knew there was a Colby College in Maine. And here's how it worked. Morton Anderson getting ready to kick off. He kicks it deep to Billy Sims. Billy's got the kickoff return. He's out to the 15, the 20, the 30, the 40. He gets, what a vicious tackle at the 45-yard line. Terry, I'll tell you what, Bubba, that was some tackle by Willie Anderson, free agent defensive back from Colby College in Maine. No numbers.
Yeah.
No
okay,
number.
there wasn't numbers.
No
okay.
number.
Okay.
So now the next week we're at Tampa and Atlanta, and same thing. Here's the punt from Mickey Spillane. He hits it deep to Carl Lewis. Carl returns it to the 25, the 30. He gets a great block at the 35. He's across the 40 midfield, finally tackled at the 45-yard line. I'll tell you what, Bubba, that was some block by Willie Anderson, free agent defensive back from Colby College in Maine. No number. Willie played 14 games in the NFL that year, and we never got caught, ever. And so at the end of the year, we're on the yacht owned by the Krispy Kreme Donuts guy at Tampa Harbor. And Mike decided to call Colby College and ask for the sports information director. And he called him and he said, Mike Burks is CBS. And the guy said, you're with CBS? He said, what the hell's going on with you people? We got alumni calling, what year did Willie Anderson graduate from here? We got no record of Willie Anderson. And so Mike said, well, that's kind of the point, but look at all the publicity you got. And so he sent 8 Colby College T-shirts, and in Nancy's office, my wife's office, in Steamboat Springs, she's got a group photograph of all of us wearing Colby College T-shirts. And Terry, a matter of fact, I talked to him 2 weeks ago. We do a fundraiser as well for the Headliners Foundation, which is a wonderful organization in Austin. And because Nancy and I are doing this Around the World cruise, we're going to postpone it till mid-October next year. And Terry's going to be
He's going to do it?
Yeah, he's going to do it.
You know what that means? That means I'm going to have to come to Austin next October.
Yeah.
Because my people, it's about Verne, not me, but my wife she bleeds Steeler. Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, does she?
And that particular night we sat with Terry at your table was the highlight.
Oh, gosh,
I'll tell you, that was the greatest night of our life. And he was everything you'd think he'd be. He was nothing but fun. I mean, he was just an absolute riot.
Well, and Tommy, you remember, I mean, he's got no barriers.
No.
And so he's up there and he's done on his back, flopping around the stage, and then throwing footballs into the audience. Yeah. And I had told him that Roger Staubach had been one of he said, I like to throw it better than Roger Staubach. So he'd rifle the ball out. He's unhittable.
That night he said it again. I won 4 Super Bowls. Nobody called my plays. I don't need Tom Landry. I don't need Don Shula. I call my own plays. 4 Super Bowls.
You might remember this. Terry, when he was a national high school javelin record holder and had an athletic track and field opportunity, but
went to football.
Wasn't to be.
And now, listen, that group on Fox has been together forever.
Yeah.
Ever. I mean, now the names, Strahan's for the new.
Strahan, Jimmy Johnson retired. Howie Long, Terry, Kurt Menefee. Yeah. And last Sunday they had a new guy on the far right. I didn't know who that was.
I don't either. I was somewhere on the other side of the world in Europe, so I didn't get to see it.
Well, I love JB and Coach Cower and Matt Ryan and Nate Burleson, but I don't think the the chemistry equals that of the Fox
No,
Boys.
they're also all Hall of Famers.
Yeah, you're right.
They're all sitting there. They've all achieved something that very few do. Speaking of that, in terms of awards and achievements, among the things that Sports Broadcasting Hall of Fame is the Lifetime Emmy Award, from a Sports Emmy Award for lifetime achievement for all that you did. And that was pretty cool.
You think? Yeah, it was. That was a highlight, 2016.
It's also the same. What was the highlight, especially, was you were given that award, and Bill Raftery knocked off Chris Collingsworth for a play-by-play.
Well, and you, Dottie, were there.
Yeah.
You remember I was sitting on the right side, and Raft was on the far left, because all the CBS. I knew what I was going to get the award, so I was sitting 2 rows behind Collingsworth.
Yeah.
And when Raftery beat him,
Yep.
I just erupted, because Bill's a great guy, a dear friend. And I said, all right. And Collingsworth turned around and just stared at me.
Well, that's another story for another time, but, he's won it again, Raftery, and Collingsworth is kind of his, never mind, it's not my business. I'm just a fan. I'm not inside that world, but that was a hell of a night. And I could tell a story that night, because I remember we were invited back to that restaurant because Sean McManus used to look at me and go, "You're here again?" And what is it with you? And we're sitting at your table in that Italian restaurant with your brother Danny, and here's Calvin Hill.
Yeah.
And Calvin Hill, who came to,
well, they asked, Raftery, Dan Fouts, Calvin Hill, and Scotty couldn't make it for some reason.
And Gary.
And Gary.
Remember Gary as a surprise.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
And people, who's he? No, I'm kidding. But what happens is we're sitting there, and Calvin Hill's, I invited him over like I knew anybody. And he sat down, and Michael Irvin had crashed the party.
That's right.
And even though he's with Showtime, which is part of maybe CBS. So all of a sudden he sits down, and I'm sitting next to your brother Danny, and Danny goes, "I can't believe it, I'm sitting with Calvin Hill and Michael Irvin." I said, "Your brother's Verne." And meanwhile, you're over there with Dan Fouts and somebody else. That was a night to remember.
Yeah, it sure was.
All the awards that you received, it's more than anything, I will say this personally, and your wife Nancy the same, 2 of the most generous, humble people in the world. And last night at this event, people are still, they're nervous to come up, they wait and they kind of, can I say hello? And you've earned everything, every award, every friendship. When I used to get to follow you and go to games, and the way the camera crew and the audio people and everybody, well, they liked you. They loved your wife. Okay, let's be honest. Yeah. Nancy, they loved. They put up with you. No, I'm just kidding. But you deserved every bit of it. Now,
Tommy, you got to tell the story about our trip in the Middle East, not the Middle East, when we were with Muhammad.
In Jordan.
In Jordan.
That is the Middle East,
Yeah.
I was very fortunate. We were out on a tour with Verne and his wife Nancy and my wife, and we had been to Petra, which was fabulous. And now we were in a car, in a mini SUV from 1937 that might have been used in like the cartoon movie or Khartoum, is that it?
Yeah.
And we're riding in the sand dunes, and specifically the drivers, that's a wrong word, but the drivers are told absolutely you can't go airborne.
Yeah.
You just can't go airborne. That's against the law, the rules or whatever. And Mohammed didn't care. Mohammed's got 4 Americans, and I happen, because it's a pecking order. First of all, we have a Hall of Famer. He gets the front seat, and the women have to get the back seat. And all I got was the shelf. I'm on the laying in the back. When this guy goes airborne, and I smack my head into the ceiling, and then this Hall of Fame voice in the very front said something you probably do now on cable, but back then you wouldn't be able to say.
No.
But that was, and you have it all on video. It was tremendous.
Yeah.
We had some wonderful times.
And remember we went to the Bedouin village?
Yes.
Yeah. And this was, we crossed the railroad tracks where Lawrence of Arabia had led the uprising.
Yeah. And they have to know about Verne. Verne is inquisitive and loves to travel and loves the video, and that's why they're going on this 6-month adventure to many places that you've already seen.
Yeah,
but
a few haven't.
No, is that right? Well, and there's a reason for that. If people don't know who I am, I'm a comedian on cruise ships, and I work for Oceania Cruise Line, and they win awards for going places that no other cruise line goes to.
That's right.
And when you get there, you know why no other cruise line goes there. That's the reason they win it. No one go, and the guests go, "What are we doing here? You booked it. Leave it alone." So I haven't looked at your itinerary, but I'm sure there's always one or two new ones in there.
Well, yeah. Well, we South America, Central America, California, Australia, every island. We wind up ultimately in Singapore, I think. And they do have a plan B, because the part of the world we have not visited is the Middle East. Dubai, Abu Dhabi.
You haven't been?
No, we never have.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And then down to Oman, Red Sea, Suez Canal, maybe into the Med. Yeah. And then out through the Straits, up the coast, Portugal, France, London, Scotland, Ireland, Iceland. That's a beautiful spot, isn't it?
Can't wait to go back.
We were there once on a cruise ship, and we paid $150 each to go whale watching. And Tom said, "Only you would pay $150 to go watch water."
Pretty much it. And most people come back and go, "We didn't see one whale." And even if you see one whale, that's $300. That's a very prohibitive price to see a whale. I'm not going to knock the ports of call. Everyone should go there. I had to. Why should you be any different? But when you go to Dubai, it is. This is off the beaten track for this podcast, but it's quite unique because they're desperate for the Western tourism. And if you get to go, and I think they will, they're still going to go to those ports. You're just going to have to go around Africa to get back. You must go to the Mall of the Emirates because they have a 5-story ski slope in the mall.
Wow.
In the mall. And of course, you live in Steamboat Springs, you see skiing all the time, but you've never seen it inside of a mall.
No.
It's always just, and I said to the man at the door, Mohammed, Ahmed, whatever, and I said, it's none of my business, but I just want you to know if you come to Steamboat Springs, Colorado, we don't have a desert inside of a warehouse, okay? And he goes, "You want Western tourism, you people want this," and it's bizarre. And you can only drink in certain ports. You don't have to worry about it, but we would go behind a curtain and have a bottle of wine and watch these people skiing inside of a mall. It's interesting.
Wow.
It's different. And I've never been to Saudi Arabia, but that's a very big destination. They're embracing tourism. They have their own cruise line.
Yeah.
And it's going to look like every other place. Abu Dhabi is actually friendlier than Dubai, but that's another podcast for another time.
Okay.
I'll throw a cheap promo in. If you listen to this because you know who Verne is and don't know who I am, you can listen to Tom Drake's Daily Cruise and Travel News podcast 5 days a week. It's on every podcast platform like this one, and I will tell you all the places you shouldn't go. That's my job. My job is to ruin your vacation plans. That's what I do. I want to thank you. We went overtime, and it's special to be here for this weekend. At 1:30 this afternoon, they'll have the ribbon cutting. Fingers crossed, the scissors don't fall apart. No exaggeration. The gentleman in charge of this tries 6 different types of ribbon to get one that cut early. This man has a lot of time on his hands.
He's really nervous. Yeah, he does.
And then this evening it'll be fun. Now, real quickly, normally with Front Row, which is what the fundraiser is called, Front Row with Verne, you interview very famous sports celebrities, Bill Raftery, and I was there for Allie and
Joe.
Yeah, Allie and
Allie
Joe.
LaForce and Joe Smith.
And Joe, and of course for Bradshaw and one other one.
Did you come from Barkley, Charles Barkley?
No, I missed it. Yeah.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah, but the thing is, tonight is a switch. Tonight you'll be interviewed by Brad Sham, who's been the voice of the Cowboys for when it
900 and some broadcasts.
Is that what it is? Yeah. So he'll be asking you the questions, and I probably should have waited to do this podcast till after he interviewed because he's a professional, but he doesn't know a lot of the inside stuff. No, he's going to ask the standard fare kind of questions, that kind of thing. So, and you're still busy. You're involved with the Headliners Club in Austin. Seems like you're showing up here, showing up there. You travel still. You haven't stopped.
No, not really. Yeah. And I get asked. I retired after the Masters a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And I said, people say, well, what do you do to keep busy? Heck, I don't know. But the days are full.
Yeah, you're not stopped.
Yeah, no.
Whenever I call you or text you, I said, where are you? You're not home. So.
Yeah. Well, I think curiosity is a great thing, and I've still got it. So does Nancy.
Yeah, fabulous. I want to thank you for your friendship, and I want to thank everybody for listening. I hope thousands listen, because the stories, one of the great storytellers of all time, the king of the anecdotes, we could probably, and the golden voice.
Oh yeah, I hate that term.
And the golden voice. And he's also Uncle Verne. I'll tell that real fast. I love telling these stories. Whenever I'm having dinner with guests, I wish I was you. But we happen to be in Tuscaloosa, living the dream. We're in Tuscaloosa for Alabama and A&M, and we're going to the ESPN bus, because it was your final year SEC,
right.
and you're going to be the picker.
I was the picker.
And you're in a golf cart in front of us, and I'm in the golf cart behind you, and college kids, are screaming like you're Taylor Swift, Uncle Verne, Uncle Verne. Oh, I'm not kidding. You're a rock star. There's no doubt about it. Imagine you and Saban as the grand marshals of the Beaujolais parade or something in Alabama. Women would be throwing underwear at you. Anyway, but you're also known as Uncle Verne, if not the golden voice. But you're just a great person. So
thank you, Tommy.
Thanks for listening, everybody, and tune in next week when I ask somebody questions, because I'm real curious. Thanks.